Okay, so for those of you at home, what I did in class just now is I just gave everybody all the examples about the different options for this assignment. So I would just suggest that you start thinking about which option is the best for you after reading through all of those handouts and watching this lesson to see what you want to focus on for writing assignment 2. So now what we're going to do is just do a little bit of a look at how to write a good paragraph. Because all of the papers that come next in your package have to do with writing good paragraphs. So if we go here, you have a video that you can watch about paragraph structure that I will post on our WhatsApp page. And then I give you lots and lots of handouts about making good paragraphs. There's another video, and then paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. Now here, read the handouts. What is a personal letter? The difference between a memoir, autobiography, and biography. If you see those on your list, those of you in class, you can stroke this out. I did not include this article in your package. I do have what is a personal letter, I just gave it to you, and all those other handouts I just gave you are the ones that should be written here, but I made this first and thought of that later. So if you're looking for this, it's not there. For those of you online, the handouts, this is not there. Instead, just read all of those handouts that I just gave you. Okay, so we're not going to go through all of these pages. That will take us quite a long time. But what I do want to do here in class and for you online is to give a very short little talk about what makes a good paragraph. So we're going to start here in class by a good old-fashioned brainstorm. So the question is, what is a paragraph? And I'm waiting for some answers. Go ahead. Someone want to tell me what a paragraph is? Can you shout it through the camera, somebody? Person with the hat, what's a paragraph?
It's a writing about how to explain this. It's a little
Okay, so writing about a main point?
yes.
Or a main point or idea? Okay, good. What does it look like? What does it have?
It has the introduction sense
Okay,
and kind of like the 3 points of the main point and then the conclusion.
excellent. So, it has an introduction sentence. Does anyone know what we call that? Can everybody see? The topic sentence and the 3 main points. We call those the supporting sentences. Yeah. So basically, a paragraph is a group of sentences about one main idea / point. Okay? So, when you guys are writing, you will be writing more than one paragraph, obviously. But each of your paragraphs, you want to have that same structure. A topic sentence. Now, does the topic sentence always need to be the first sentence in a paragraph? No, it might come in the middle or sometimes even the end, but somewhere in there where I know that that is the main topic of that paragraph. And all the supporting details in there have to support that topic sentence, right? So you guys are going to take, you're going to have, let's say you're going to have 5 paragraphs in what you write. So I always like to kind of work with 5 paragraphs. So if you're writing, let's say, a personal narrative, you're writing a story about one event on your life map, what are you going to do in your first paragraph? What will you do in your first paragraph? Anybody who's been here for a while in this class? Ideas? Okay, so you'll have your topic sentence, or sometimes in a first paragraph of a story, we call it, your grabber, or your main idea. Yeah, so in this first paragraph, we're going to introduce, right? So we call it an introduction, right? That's where we're going to introduce our topic, right? Then in each of these paragraphs, so each of these paragraphs will have a topic sentence, topic, and then the details about that topic, right? So here, you're having your big main idea. So this is all about my trip to, where did I go, guys? My trip to Mexico, okay? So here is all about my trip to Mexico, and these are the 3 best things I want to tell you about my trip to Mexico. So the number 1 thing was the food. So my topic sentence will make sure that I'm saying, you know, I'm not going to say, in this paragraph I'm going to tell you about the food. No. I'm going to say, the food that I had on our trip to Mexico was the best food I've ever had. All of these supporting sentences are going to tell you why that's the best food I have ever had. And I'm talking about food because I told you in the introduction that one of the best things was the food. Okay, so I've mentioned the food here, and now I'm going to tell you all about the food. Then, and this is the hard part in writing, you need to transition. What does transition mean? What does it mean to make a transition?
I'm changing the topic, but in a way that it makes sense.
Aha! So now you need to gently lead the reader to remind them you're still talking about Mexico, but now you're going to take them on to the next thing that you really loved about Mexico, and that, of course, was the people. Yeah. The people that I met during the time I was in Mexico were the most fantastic people I can imagine. And then but you won't just boom to the people, you will have some kind of transition in here that says, along with the food, the people in Mexico were also fantastic. Okay, so you're connecting the reader to the next thing. So if we've gone from food to people, what is another really amazing thing about Mexico? Anybody's trip to Mexico that they would experience? The markets. But now I have a little bit of a problem, and this is why I'm doing this planning before I start writing. If I'm talking about the markets, should it be food, people, markets, or should the markets be closer to the food? Because that's where you get the food. Who would change that order? Guys, you all say, we would. Okay, so we could put it here before the food, or we could put it after, depending on how we want to structure it, right? You would put it first, okay. So, because at the market is where you get the food, and then you get the food, and then, okay, wonderful. Yeah, so this is where planning comes in. But yeah, your topic sentence would make sure that the reader knows this one is all about the market, and then these are the details, right? And the purpose here would definitely be to inform and describe. I'm not telling a story about my trip to Mexico. I'm describing the things about Mexico that I liked, right? So that would definitely be describing. If I was telling a story, the best way to tell a story is how? In the order that it happened, right? So my first paragraph, the topic sentence would be all about the first thing that happened, and then the next thing that happened, and the next. Now the trick is to write about a story that happened without saying, and then, and then, and then, and then. And I think there's some good transition words in your package that I gave you. It talks about how do you talk about time and then lead people to the next. Now the thing is, your work that I gave you to think about paragraphs is thinking about writing just a 1-paragraph essay, but I want you guys to stretch that, right? So really, a longer piece of writing has the same recipe as 1 paragraph. So if 1 paragraph has a topic sentence and supporting sentences and a concluding sentence, it's the same when you stretch it out. So instead of each of these supporting main points only being 1 sentence, now they each get their own paragraph. Get what I'm saying? I had the most amazing trip to Mexico. The markets are out of this world with color and vibrancy, and the food that you can get there is pretty remarkable too. But nothing compares to the people. I will definitely be going back to Mexico again. That's one whole essay in a paragraph. But if you stretch that, each of these becomes your paragraph, right? So it talks, the lesson this week was kind of getting you into that idea of making sure your paragraphs are working. And then you're going to stretch that and try and write a few paragraphs. Again, don't worry about the word count and stuff like that once you decide what you're going to write, but just start thinking a little bit about making sure that you have a good, strong paragraph structure. That's a fast-forward lesson in paragraphs, but you have a lot in your packages that you can work with. So, at the end of the day, work as little or as much as you want with all the paragraph stuff. But if you already want to start thinking about what you want to write for this writing assignment, once you're done your life map, please let me know which one you decide. If you decide to do a personal letter or a narrative or an autobiography or a biography, and use what you're learning about paragraphs in your work to help you write good paragraphs about those things. And you have time. I said this is take us up until the 16th, or even longer if some people need some time to catch up. Are there any questions here in class? Okay, if you have questions out there online, please, please, please send me a WhatsApp message, or give me a phone call, or say you need to meet with me, but don't quit. Keep going. So, yeah, that's it for today.